Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's 25 minutes past 4 on the 16th of September 2020. Yeah, well, this morning I got delivered the it's called Rip Your Grip Power Balls. Got them delivered. That'd be interesting. It'd be useful for tomorrow. I've got training again tomorrow, but you got 2 hours downstairs, 1 hour upstairs. So really, for upstairs, these balls will come in very useful. Things like the lateral pull down is, well, it got to the point where through doing that and doing your max, I was waking up during the night and my fingers were numb. Of course, when you've got the bar, you're reaching up and you're pulling the bar down and you've got your max on it. Yeah, so it's really heavy and you're trying to pull this thing down. I'm saying really heavy for me. Not for other people, but for me, yeah. Yeah, as I say, you're pulling this thing down and it's, yeah, your fingers get a bit sort of, yeah, when you've been gripping onto something too tight. And so even now when I grip my left hand, I can feel the knuckles getting a bit, yeah, not very good. I don't want that. So yeah, so these power balls, you just wrap them around it and then just use them. So you just put your finger through the bit things. They've got a rope loop on the end. You just put the loop over the bar and just put your fingers on there and just pull down, grab hold of the ball, put it down, and much easier and more gentle on your fingers for that. So that'd be useful. For the pulley 2 one as well, that'd be quite useful, hopefully. Depends. Let's see what happens. Let's see what can be done. Fine. But that'd be good. Yeah, we'll see what happens with it all. So just be a case of practice it. Also, when you're doing the chest, lower chest really, or even a middle part of the chest, because when you're doing the cable crossover, that one, yeah, those balls still come in useful. Again, when you're doing heavy, they're coming very useful because again, it's grip. It'll make it much easier, although a bit more confusing because, for example, when you do a natural pull down, if you're, and this will take a bit of explaining, bear with me a sec. If you're pulling down, but where your palms are basically facing away, same as where you look, where your eyes are facing, that way you're going to be doing more your upper back. If your palms are facing your ears, then you'll be more likely to do your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, your forearms, and a bit of your upper back. So it depends on what you're doing, really. I mean, if your aim is your upper back, well then, with the balls, it's going to be more tricky. You've got to keep your hands in a certain position to do the right area, which could be a bit more tricky, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. So yeah, there's certainly a few areas where it will be interesting to try this and see how it works. Right, that'd be good. Just to practice it and see how this thing works would be very interesting indeed. So yeah. So apart from that, yeah, there's not a lot really. Now that's tomorrow. 2 hours downstairs, 1 hour upstairs. Did the same on Saturday, and that was knackering. So I did a bit of a workout, 1 hour downstairs, 1 hour upstairs yesterday, and hopefully I'll be recovered enough tomorrow from that to really push it tomorrow. Time will tell. One thing I will say is that through doing the gym and everything else, I mean, with the other stuff, the spiritual stuff, so I did the video earlier about 1 second. So I just gotta check something. No worries at all. Bear with me if you can. There's no bears, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I just had to check something out. Yeah, I did the video earlier about my dear brother and sister, Bob and Bianca, expressing about what they went through. I realised how knackered they must have been through that, because spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, I'm shattered. Absolutely and totally shattered. I have nothing. I did a video the other day, where do I go from here? And it's because absolutely shattered. Nothing left. Nothing left. And because I'm going to the gym and really, really pushing it as well, then it means physically I'm shattered as well. So it's like, yeah, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, absolutely shattered. Yeah, so oh my lord, it's not easy. I mean, actually, that was an interesting point. I was thinking, was it easier for them or harder for them than it is for me going through that sort of situation? Because some people would say it'd be easier for them because they were a couple, they could support each other, but not if they're both going through it. If they're both going through it, they can't support each other because they're both going through it. They can look for support, and when they look for support from each other, that's what makes it worse. They'll have moments where they can support each other, which makes it better. So evens it out. It's probably about the same. I mean, it is really hard trying to deal with it all on your own, but yeah, it would have been no easier as a couple trying to deal with it when you're both going through it. That's a certainty. So I know what they were going through. Not easy in any way, shape, or form. I mean, me, I've always been, I remember when I was an incredibly young Christian, I've always been someone who was trying to work on me, trying to be better. I mean, I remember around about the time I had the vision from God, I used to walk, because I didn't drive at that point. I used to walk from where I lived in Gillingham in Kent to Chatham, to the shops there, because the shops are slightly better there, or to go and see a friend there. And plenty of times speaking to God on the way, because it was a long walk, and I used to walk across the, I can't remember what the film was called. I always thought it's called the Black Lion, because there was a sports centre called the Black Lion in Gillingham, and the field was up from there. I don't know what it's called. They used to have the fireworks display there and stuff like that there. There was a school there. But what it's called, I don't know. Yeah, no idea. Can't even be bothered trying to find it. It's still there. It is what it is. Well, it's possibly still there. It might have been made into a house in there. Don't know. But anyway, at the end of this massive, great big sort of field, but not sort of field. Yeah, it was a field. Yeah, there was a pathway down, and some of the pathway was quite steep, so you could get down into some of the house, some of the streets in Chatham through a sort of very, very steep path that was sort of chalk path, or you could go down a much, much nicer path and go right into the town. So mainly I would choose a nicer path to go right into town. So while walking, I'd be speaking to God about me, trying to understand me, trying to understand why I struggle with certain things, like lust. So I was speaking to God about why I struggle with lust, and I realised, I was introduced to sex at an incredibly young age, so that'd be why. And I was basically taught through, as a child, that sex is love. So of course I had all that time when I was walking of spending time with God and understanding that no, sex isn't love. it was through these walks that I was sort of speaking to God about this and learning about it and trying to correct me that sex isn't love, that love is love and sex is, something completely different. Love making is what a couple who are in love do. Sex is very selfish, so sex is about what I can get. But really, someone who loves you doesn't love you because they've had sex with you, or you don't get love through having sex. So that was something I was having to work through, amongst tons of other stuff. Of course, there was issues about James, because James was born in '94. About 6 months before I became a Christian. He was born in January. I became a Christian in July. And I had to give him up. He was my boy, and I'd always sworn that I wouldn't do what my dad did. That I wouldn't abandon my child. But at the time, I had no choice. I was trying to fight for him. Spoke to lawyers, tried to get it done, but because she had other children from a different relationship, there was nothing the court system could do. The mother was refusing to let me see him, and I knew the problem is if I keep on and on and on and on and on, it's going to have a negative impact on him, because if I keep doing this, it's going to wind her up. Whenever he misbehaves, she'll probably react to him in a far worse manner because of me. So I've got to walk away. And to say that was hard to do, I'd been a Christian for about 1.5 years at the time. I had to walk away. I had to give him to God and ask God to deal with him. And learn a few years later that he was now a spoiled little brat. From a friend who was, not from one of my friends, from one of the mother's friends. I met her and she told me that she'd been in McDonald's and she'd seen the mother with the children, including James. And mother went up to get the food and James was throwing a fit. Where's my food? Where's my food? Screaming his head off that he wants his food. And of course his mum went back, don't worry, I'm just getting it, don't worry. Now of course, me, if I'd been there, I'd have been like, okay, there's your food, and I would have given it either to another kid, not one of his relatives, to a complete stranger kid, or I would have chucked his food straight in the bin. And I told him, right, you're going home now. You won't have any McDonald's now for another month. You choose to behave in this way, you suffer the consequences. That's the reality of the situation. Of course, that didn't happen. She bowed down to him to go, oh, great, I gave him to God, and this is what's happening. Oh, fantastic. And that was my little boy. Yeah, my baby boy, James. And he was such a sweet little baby. You couldn't ask for better. He was such a sweet child. And ruined. Potentially ruined because of that. That's not quite. I was in a situation at the time when I gave up where I honestly thought the best thing I could do is walk away. That would be the best thing I could do for him. Yeah. And after that, it was a case where I was writing a book called Avoid the Crash. So I was trying to avoid the crash was about the fact that we as Christians are filled with a ton of rubbish that should have been dealt with when we first became a Christian, but wasn't. Because the church wasn't functional, still isn't, but wasn't. So we have all this baggage that we're dragging around with us, which is dangerous. Dangerous stuff. And of course, so I was trying to deal with me over some of the dangerous stuff that was in me, but I didn't know most of it. Really didn't. I didn't know it. God did, but I didn't. Then a few years after that, I crashed in a massive way. Lost everything again. And it's just been a continuous, You try and deal with you try and make sure that, you are the person you need to be so that you can serve God. Especially, God gives you a dream and a vision, so therefore you want to make sure that you're ready. When God calls you ready, that you can step into it, that you can do that, because really that's your life. That's it, really. Not got anyone to share your life with, so your life really is that vision, that dream. There you go, that's the focus. Got to be ready for that. It matters that much. I've got to be ready for that. I gave my life to God, so my life doesn't belong to me anymore, it belongs to Him. And He left me here really to deal with that stuff. So I've got to be ready. I know that some people miss out because, well, the scripture itself says, make sure your lamp's ready for when you're called. Well, of course, no, just leave it to God. Stop trying to get ready. Stop trying to deal with things that I can't deal with. Chewie, Mollie just walk past you. Stop getting grumpy. Grumpy boy. Not so grumpy when she's in season, are you? Eh? When she's your girlfriend. Very happy with her there, aren't you? Eh? Nutter. Ain't you? Dozy dog. Getting grumpy when she walks past you. Was she in your space? It's called tough. Eh? It's called tough. Yeah. Love you. Anyway, so yeah. As I say, it's just knackering. It's just knackering, and then you have that situation recently of the emotional journey. It was the wrong journey, but it was a journey that you allowed yourself to hope for. After all the times hope was dashed, after all the times you stepped out in faith, trusted God and hoped for something, and then nothing. So you do it again. You allow yourself to step out in hope, and then you have all these. Even the point of sitting at the gym, doing some exercise, listen to a song, and then as you listen to the song, you can see your wedding dance. And then it's not the right person. And what annoyed me about it, as I've said before so many times, God may have said she's not the one. But if God said that, He whispered. Right? He said it so quietly I didn't hear. Or I didn't know it was God telling me that. Now, we know as people, we don't whisper to each other, generally speaking. We don't make people say all the time, excuse me, can you speak up? I can't hear what you're saying. But we have to keep on going back to God and saying, excuse me, can you speak up, please? Because I didn't know that was you. Important message that I needed, really. You could have saved me a heck of a lot of emotional pain there. Yeah? If you'd have just made sure I heard that. I'm asking you to guide me on this. I'm asking you what's going on. There doesn't seem to be anything going on. Is she really the one for me? And then I get in the car, and then there's this lovey-dovey bloody song come on the radio, which makes me think that you're saying yes. Because of course, God doesn't always speak to us through the normal way that He appears in front of us, sits down in a chair opposite us, and has a conversation. That generally doesn't happen. He speaks to us through different things. So a song on the radio, that is certainly within the realm of possibility. So every time I get to the point of thinking that no, it's probably not going to happen, that she probably isn't the one, which happened on about 10 occasions during that 6 months. It was usually during the walk and talk, because during the midnight walk and talk, I have 2 hours where I'm just speaking about things. So musing, basically. Letting everything get out before bedtime. So there was a number of occasions, 10 or so occasions, where it's like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Then I get in the car, turn the engine on, and this lovey-dovey song, like I Don't Care by Ed Sheeran, which is really the song that for me was the big song, really, talking about love. And what that would do for me. That song is basically it. So that song comes on the radio and you're thinking, well, it's God saying it, isn't it, really? No, it's not. When God does speak, it's so quietly. It's like, really, that's so helpful. I'm pretty sure God wouldn't be that impressed if He gave me an important message to give and I whispered it. And people were having to keep on saying, excuse me, speak up, I didn't hear that. I don't think God would be impressed with me if I did that. Yet that's how He does with things with us. And it's like, come on. If there's something we need to know, get it through to us, please. Come on. I mean, what is key is having a relationship with God. That's key. Being guided and led by the Holy Spirit. Well, when the evidence that comes back to you all the time is you haven't got that. And you've spent 6 months believing in something again. It's like, oh my Lord. So I did a video after that saying, where do I go from here? But I have these sort of things every 6 or so years. So it's like really useful, And you get back up, you climb back up, you try and do it, I gave the analogy of having a hanging off a cliff with just your fingernails. Well, what it is really, it's not just that. You're hanging off a cliff only when things go really, really badly. But then after a while, you pull yourself back up again by your fingernails, by your fingertips, pull yourself back up. You get up, you start walking tall, you start trying to walk in faith again. And then within no time, again, you're back on that bloody cliff edge. With your fingernails again. So, oh, for goodness sake, come on. It's annoying. It's like, with the cars. I eventually passed the driving test. Now, I know driving test issue, I'll explain this quickly because it's something I realised, I was talking to myself about today that I understood that. The first driving test I took, I should really have passed that. I was failed it on something which was massively unfair. However, had I passed that, it's quite likely I would have had an accident because I wasn't ready. Technically, I did everything right in that driving test, but I wasn't ready. So there were many other driving tests, and I think there was about 5 driving test fails. In all of them, I failed on something different. It wasn't really the same stuff. I mean, there was a couple of occasions, like the first one and one later, and I spoke about this before. But a couple of things really annoyed me. You come into a situation where somebody flashes their lights for you to go. The driving test person says, fail. Immediately, fail. What? Based on what? Oh, you forced that car to stop. No, I didn't. Did you get out of the car and ask? Did you ask the person why they stopped? No. So therefore, how do you know that I forced that person to stop? You have no idea whatsoever as an instructor as to why that car stopped. You're just putting down worst case scenario. You're not counting human decency. So that was annoying. But when I passed at a time when, afterwards I knew I can drive now. I'm fine. I'm not going to have an accident, so less likely to. Oh, there have been moments. There have been moments. I had to go to the vet to get some tablets for Chewie because he had a couple of fits, probably down to tick bites. So I got some tick treatment from the vets, but that was quite a journey. On the way back, I wasn't quite focusing on what I was doing, and I noticed I'd gone right onto the verge. Had I have gone the other way around, a car would have smashed into me. Yeah, so oh my lord, what was I doing? Got to focus all the time. That was just that little moment where that was good because I didn't actually hit anyone, and I learned from it, so that was okay. But all that stuff with the car, I mean, I was initially because I spoke to a GP. I had jury duty, and I said I can't do it because of the sleep apnea. I can't do it. So I said to the GP, I need a note to say I can't do it. Oh, he said, no, you'll have to tell the DVLA about your sleep apnea. I said, right, okay. So I spoke to them. So then they suspended my license. I've only just learned to drive. I've got a car sitting out there, paid road tax on it, and now I can't drive the blasted thing. Oh, it's annoying. That's the point. I'm still waiting for money back. I sawned the car, the one that died, and I should have got half of the road tax back. I still haven't got it back yet. So that's a bit odd. That money would be useful right now, very useful. I'm running out of dog food. It's always the case. Come to the point of just as you get new puppies, you start running out of money. Happens every time. And we're at that time now. We've got 1 week old babies, and we're running out of money again. But I am. So yeah. Well, I will be because on the 2008 X-Trail died. I spent £200 on a garage to look at that, and they found nothing. I spent other bits of money on parts for it to try and fix it. That did nothing. Then I got the 2006 X-Trail that ended up having all the rust issues, so I had to buy a part for that. There's other parts I still need to buy for it. So it's like, right, not good. And then I used the rest of my money basically to buy the Civic. Because I needed a car to drive, so I couldn't drive either X-Trail. One had a dead engine, the other one had rust, was a complete rust bucket. The only reason I bought that is because the person who sold it and my friend with me were both saying we could take the engine out of that one and put it in the other one. You couldn't. Different designs, really, of engines. So that was 600 quid wasted. For now, I mean, I've potentially I might be able to get the welding done to deal with the rust issues, but that's going to cost a few hundred at least, and then I can sell it. So hopefully I can make my money back on that one, which will be useful. But it's all time, and it all adds to the position where eventually you just say, I'm knackered. Absolutely knackered. And that's the reality right now. I just feel knackered. But that's why, when I think about the future, I see nothing right now. I can't see anything at the moment because I'm just knackered. All I can see is that I'm knackered. I can't see anything more. That's the reality. I mean, generally speaking, I'm going to get up, I'm going to dust myself off, get off the cliff edge, and hopefully not end up back there. That's the thing, but need God to be a bit more direct. When he's trying to say something, make sure we hear. Yeah, that's important. Otherwise, it's just taking the mickey, really. And nobody wants that. That's not useful in any way, shape, or form. So there you go. You take care, God bless, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.